Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Officer Adda 24/7. My name is Niharika Valia, and I'm with you with the topic of AFB. And I'll be covering up a few more questions of AFB series. Okay. If you haven't downloaded our app yet, then kindly go ahead and download it. It would help you in not only in terms of knowing about the latest updates regarding our courses, but also regarding the classes as well. So it becomes easier to work on the phone, right? So you can download the app from the Play Store. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, kindly go ahead and subscribe to our channel, Officers Adda 24/7. Thank you. Okay, now moving on. We have started with our batch for the JAIIB selection batches have just started. This would be the batch for English as well as bilingual. Both the batches have just started. The bilingual batch has started also on 12th only. That means you still have time to enroll yourself in the live courses, because ultimately live courses play a better role in terms of working, and at the same time it becomes more interactive when you are into this era, right? Okay, so let's look forward to it. It has just started, so if you haven't enrolled, then kindly go ahead and enroll it for the further preparation, as well as in clearing the examination in a better way, because ultimately in the classes you are not only getting the concepts, but we are also covering the area of MCQs, and at the same time we are also covering the area of numericals. So everything that is required for the JIB examination is being done in the classes. Along with that, the YouTube sessions are also going on, so whatever you feel comfortable with, kindly go ahead with it. Now, in the last class, I was dealing with this question, that was a cash book had an overdraft. If there's an overdraft, that means it is a negative value, right? This is a oh, this is a negative value of cash book. That means there is 1,50,000 rupees in the cash book, but the passbook made up but the passbook made up to the same date showed the checks. There were three checks, 10,000, 5,000, and 12,500, that had not been presented for the payments. Okay. So basically the cash book showed a balance of 1,50,000, and there were certain checks that were not presented for payments. We thought we have lost this money, but we didn't lose this money. This was still in our pockets, so it has to be added back. And the check of rupees 4,000 paid into the bank had not been cleared. We thought that this 4,000 is there in our bank account, but it is not there in the bank account. So if it's not there in the bank account, then what will we do? We will have to deduct it. So this would be the treatment of check deposited but not cleared. So for every such thing, we have a different sort of um, working. So let's look forward to it. What would be the answer according to this? The answer would be 126,500. Why is it that? Because 10,000, 5,000, and 12,500, these were positive balances, while currently this particular account is having a negative balance. So it goes like this: 1,50,000 was a negative balance, while 10,000, 5,000, and 12,500, all these were positive balances, and the check paid but not cleared was a negative balance, and the total comes out to be balance as per the passbook is 126,500. Okay, moving on to the next question for the day. It says that it is prepared on the basis of evidence of the transaction. Whatever evidence is there, it is a written document. The voucher being referred to is a source voucher, an accounting voucher, transfer voucher, or none of the above. The basis of evidence can be anything which is in the written basis, because obviously when the organization is looking forward to the transactions, they would like to know whether the proofs of such transactions are there or not. What we call is the verifiability or objectivity of a transaction. So basically that particular thing which becomes an evidence is called a source voucher, right? The answer is source voucher. Now, the number of production or similar units expected to be obtained from the use of an asset for by an enterprise is called as. See, the point is there are certain machineries or which do not work on the basis of time. There's nothing called time basis among these machineries. They do all the work on the basis of the useful life of those assets. That means there are different ways. A machine can have a life of 10 years, or a machine can have a life where it produces certain number of units, maybe 1 lakh, 1 lakh 50, and after that it would become scrap. So there are certain things which are there in terms of the machineries I'm talking about. So when we talk about the number of units as well as the similar units which can be produced from that asset, this would lead to the area of useful life. See, the point is when we talk about the number of production or similar units which are expected, till what time we can keep it a useful, as a useful machinery or as a useful asset, I would say that. So certain assets have a particular life. After that, it would become a scrap. So we just have to focus on that particular life. In case of a downward revaluation of an asset, which is for the time revalued, dash account is debited. Revaluation reserve, general reserve, profit and loss account, or fixed asset. When we talk about the downward revaluation, that means the value of the asset is declining. So, which is for the first time revalued, dash account is debited. After the revaluation, when there's a fall, what do you do with that fall? If there's a fall, what we do here with it is we put it in the P&L account, right? It's called the depreciation. So basically whatever the depreciation would be, that depreciation would be taken to the profit and loss account. So it would be shown in the P&L on the debit side and the depreciation would be credited. So the correct answer is C, profit and loss account. The next question. Production of a factory had to stop for a week due to labor strike. The owner estimated the loss of production and the likely loss of profit arising to the situation. He directed the accountant to record the loss in the books of accounts. The accountant did not agree. Which principal directed him? What was the basic reason that the particular accountant refused to record the loss of profit at that point of time? Was it the money measurement concept, was verifiable objective concept, or the business entity concept, or both verifiability as well as the business entity concept? See, the point is, it is true that in this organization there was a loss of profit because there was no work for a certain bit of time, right? Since there was no work during this particular period, what exactly happened? Okay, the correct answer for this question would be money measurement concept, because there is no clarity in terms of to what extent there was a loss. There is no amount which we can really relate to, right? The money measurement concept says that accounting should be done in a way that you can convert it or you can express it in the form of quantity, in terms of the rupee or in terms of money, whatever we call it. So we can convert it into that thing, right? Next point. Brokerage on the issue of shares and debentures is an expenditure. Which kind of expenditure is it? Revenue, capital, deferred revenue, partly capital and partly revenue. Okay, this question makes sense there because there's nothing called partly capital, partly revenue. The nature is clearly only on one side. When we see there's a brokerage on the issue of shares, we are, excuse me, we are basically, what we're doing is there's a brokerage or there's a commission kind of thing that we are paying on the shares, right? So because we were converting these shares and debentures into the public issues, we had to incur certain expenses which could not be avoided. So those, since this could not be avoided, these would go into the deferred revenue expenditure, which would be later on capitalized and then written off in the revenue. It would be a deferred revenue expenditure. Next point. Which of the following practices is not in consonance with the convention of conservatism? When we talk about the convention of conservatism, Himadri ma'am, I think you should really look forward to logging in again, but because sometimes it happens at one point of time, it doesn't show, and later on it shows that particular thing that the payment has been made. Kindly try it again through that way. If that doesn't happen, then I think you should reapply then. Maybe later on, one of the amounts would be refunded. Which of the following practices is not in consonance with the convention of conservatism? When we talk about the conservatism is anticipate the losses but not profits. So, how do they work upon it? They create a provision for bad debts, creating provision for discount on creditors, provision for discount on debtors, or creating provision for tax. When we look forward to this, conservatism is anticipate the losses but not profits. But do you know, when we talk about bad debts, this is kind of loss that is expected. The discount on debtors is again a loss that we can expect. And creating provision of tax, there's an expense that we are going to face. Basically, bad debts is clear loss, and while discount is kind of expense that we have to incur in order to woo our the debtors to pay in advance, right? So the last point that is left is B, that is creating a provision for discount on creditors. We'll be receiving a discount, and we had been dreaming about it. Oh, we can receive a discount from the creditors. You never know when. So that doesn't make sense. This particular thing is not correct. Okay. The workman compensation under dispute is an example of contingent liability, contingent asset, current liability, and current asset. When we look forward to the workman compensation, which is under dispute, it's not settled yet, but there's this under dispute. So when it is under dispute, we do not know which way it would go. That's why it would be called a contingent liability. The point is not known to us, na. That's why it would be treated as a contingent liability. Okay, the next question. This question is more on the side of the practical. The beginning stock of the current year is overstated by 500. The closing stock is overstated by 1200. The profit for the year will be. See, the point is when we talk about the closing stock has added 1200 more, while the opening stock has added, both of these are, this is 500 more. This would cause the income to increase by 1200, while this will cause the expenses to increase by 500. So if both are increasing, then it's always better that we look forward towards the net of the same. This is income and this is expense. So income minus expenditure, it would be 700 overstated. Next point, the present liability of an uncertain amount which can be measured reliably by using a substantial degree of estimation, it is termed as. See, the point is if we can find out whatever we can measure whatever the present liability would be and how can we look forward to it, then it would be based upon provision, liability, contingent liability, or none of the above. The correct answer, since there's a present liability of an uncertain amount, we do not know what that amount would be, that the correct answer would be provision. Because we know that there would be a loss and we need to look forward to that loss in a proper way, right? So that's it for the day. If you're looking forward to anything regarding JAIIB, all you can do is you can look forward to our batches which are going on. Currently, the bilingual as well as the English, the batch has already started. So if you want to enroll, kindly enroll, and you can use the code Y541 to avail the discount of 77%. And at times, we are giving the discount of up to 80% as well. So vouch for that particular offer as early as possible and start preparing in the best way. Thank you.